To start with, I'm going to create a simple project. So single view application. Just going to create a Google Map example project. So we have a standard project created for us. Of course, we need to add the Google Map SDK separately. So for that, you need to visit to a website. It's console.developers.google.com. So if you have already logged in using your Gmail account, you will end up seeing this interface. So there are various, because Google provides various cloud-based solutions. Not only map, there are plenty. So in this case, to start with that, very first part, you won't see initially everything because I have already initialized various other cloud services connected with my Gmail account. You may not see the same interface, maybe something limited. So you can start with by going to the hamburger menu. We call that as a hamburger. And first one, you have to go to the API manager. Once you go there, there will be various cloud services which Google offers to you to use in your various applications. In that, I am interested for one, Google Maps Sdk for iOS. So this is the one I have to first click. By default, it wouldn't have been enabled. You will be required to enable it. I have already enabled it. That's the reason I am seeing that. So it is telling that get a API key and use it in your application, something is saying. So you have to first enable this one. So once you enable it, you can visit the credentials section. Here you can create a various project or various API keys which we are going to use it in your application. I have already created a couple of API keys which is required for my iOS application, but you can go ahead and create a new one. So API key, make sure you pick the iOS key, and now here you need to provide which application this key is going to be accessing or which application is going to be connected. First thing, yes, I am going to use this bundle identifier. Just make sure you copy this bundle identifier, put it over here. Now the bundle identifier has added, and now proceed creating your API key. Now your API key generated. So this is the API key I created, and this is the API key which Google generated for me. It is not something every time you need to create a new API key. You can very well choose the existing API key, add a new bundle identifier to your existing API key so that you can reuse the same API key. I just redid all the process because when the very first time you may not have everything added. So let me go back. Typically it takes some 5 seconds or maybe more than that, sometimes even 5 minutes to propagate so that your map appears in your code. So don't get panicked like why things are not moving up. Sometimes it will get delayed. So now I have my API key generated for it, and make sure your bundle name identifier is added to that. Now we have to go back to our application to do the job. Okay. In fact, there is a simple documentation available. Google Map iOS integration. If you search, you will get the standard Google SDK integration. Few steps already been given to you. First thing, you should have a latest version of Xcode. Yes, we do have already. Version 6.3 and later, of course, we have that. And then you should have your CocoaPod installed. CocoaPod is a kind of like your, what do you call, gem library. What do you call? Ruby library, something like that. It's written on Ruby language. So, but remember, your Mac or your OS X already contain all the required Ruby executables. You can very well execute this line. So go to the command line. These are all the initial setups you would not be required to do quite often. If you go ahead and install, you will have the Ruby executable for your CocoaPods. It will install some application called CocoaPod. This is what you need to infer. I have already installed, so I'm not going to execute this code. So once you have your CocoaPod installed successfully, make sure you have an active internet. Then only these things will get downloaded. Otherwise, it won't set up. You have various issues with your proxy that that we have to see whether you could do it or not. That is debatable at this point. But if you have your personal machine or development machine, of course you need to install the CocoaPod first in order to proceed. CocoaPod is a separate software. It has nothing to do with your Google or anything, because CocoaPod, like a Node.js, like Maven, it's a kind of a repository directory. It hosts a lot of softwares, and you can install them by executing the commands what they provide. So, okay, now you have your CocoaPod installed. Now it is asking create a pod file and blah 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 stuff being mentioned. What it is actually telling, go ahead and create a file. Let me open the text editor. Let me create a new file. Make sure this is a styled oriented. I want to have a plain text. Don't want to have any decoration or anything. So I just open the text edit. It's a, like, notepad kind of thing for your Windows. So I just opened. They are asking me to put an entry, whatever they mentioned here. We copy. Okay, it's here. Let me put that. Then you have to save this as a pod file. Okay, I'll save them. You have to save that actually into the project folder. Okay, let me go to my project. I kept my project here. Google Map example. This is where you need to keep your pod file. So this pod file created. I can close my. Okay, let me go to the directory one more time. Let me find the finder. This is my project. This is where the pod file. Okay, this is type text. Okay. First, you need to make sure you don't have the extension. We don't want the extension. Just the name pod file. That's what it requires. Since I use the what you call text editor, you put the .txt by default. That I don't want, in fact. So remove the extension. You don't want to have even a single extension. The file name should be plain pod file. That's it. Once you're done with that, make sure you close your application. Xcode project. Close your Xcode project because it is going to add further libraries. So we will reopen it after some time. Close your Xcode project. Then go to the terminal. Okay, I'm in the terminal. Go to the directory where your project is located. Let me go to the directory. Since it is Mac, I can simply drag and drop to find the location. Okay, I'm into the project directory, Xcode project directory. You should be in the directory where your pod file is located. So I am into that. Okay, now call this line pod install. It sometimes will take time depending on your internet connection, because it is going to download various SDK, classes which is required for your Google Map. So it will download, and until you see the success message, you'll have to wait. It's going to take some time. You see that it is doing something, downloading something, installing. If you see the installing Google Map, generating project, and yet to complete, something going on. Okay, now pod installation complete. There is one dependency from pod file and one total pod install. It just installed a couple of things. Okay, in that one of important thing you to say, please close all current Xcode session and use Google Map.xc workspace. You don't open the Xcode project, instead you open the Xcode workspace. It is going to be two projects put together into one single workspace. If you now go to your directory, you see that we usually click this one to open in Xcode, but we should not click at this point. We should click this one to open our project. I'm going to click that. Okay. Similar to Eclipse, workspace means the group of project, because now your project having a dependency of another project. This is the pod file which added, which contains all the references of your Google Map external library. So now onwards you have to use this one to update, modify anything to your project. At this point safely we can say the Google Map integrated in your application. Now how I can display it in my project. We'll do that. First point, maybe in the first view controller I'm going to display my Google Map. Things start from here. Google Map adds the library for Swift as well as Objective-C. Both the thing it has, since it is an Objective-C. Start from import Google Maps. First line you have to add this one. This suggestion will only come if you are opening with the pods integrated. Otherwise, this suggestion won't come at all. So now we can go ahead and install Google Map related thing. I think I'll do one thing. I'll put that into my header file because I'm going to create a property it is Google Map Service Map GMS. Everything will have a GMS prefix because it's something Google Mapping Solution Map View or something like that. So I'm just going to create my Map View property. The object is ready. Now we can go ahead and initialize our map. I mean, we have to add the map view to my view controller. I mean, already view controller, if you notice that storyboard, nothing is there. The view controller by default has a view. So in that view, I'm going to put my map. So how we can do it? Let's see. First point, to do that we have to do couple of other options. Before that, let me map. Okay, let me synthesize it so that I can get back. Map view, GMS map view. Initialization, there is a constructor, I mean what you call static function available, map with the frame, and it requires something camera. Two arguments it requires. First one, the frame, the size of your map view. Second one, the camera. Not to get confused with the camera of your hardware camera. The camera here, what it tells, the perspective view of your view, your map. In terms of satellite, we call camera position mean the topmost position from where you are looking at the earth. So the camera means the perspective, the angle or that particular location from where you are looking at the target. So the camera position typically tells what is the zoom level, what is the latitude, longitude you are looking at it. So that's what the camera object actually asking us. Another one, the frame, the size of your map view, because the map view is not a kind of a IB outlet, it is a dynamic view. We have to manually tell where the map is going to come up. So two arguments I need to put. Okay, I'll come back to that. So it looks like first one, this CG rect mean rectangular. Okay, I need to give x, y and floor blah blah blah. I need to give floor 0 with the height, everything we need to give. This is also possible, but instead you'd like to put GC rect 0. That also, your map will be positioned center. If it is a single view, which is nothing but map view for your view, you can use this. Otherwise, you would like to put the map view in a specific position, you can give a CG rectangle, make a frame, and give the XY position 0, 0 with whatever the preferred width you like to keep, or probably we can keep frame size width of your view, equivalent view. It's like a constraint. I hope I gave this one for some of a picker view example. This way also you can go ahead and define the size of your map view. This one you can do, otherwise you can simply give CG rect 0 center single view. Okay, now I need a camera object or camera property. Let me create a GMS camera position. This object. Camera with latitude, longitude, and blah blah stuff. Like, let me select. Okay, we need a location to pinpoint. Anyway, I haven't added the GPS code to get the latitude and longitude. I'll do one thing. Let me go to map. I'll just pick some random GPS location so that we'll point the location towards that. Okay. Fortunately, it is pointing to our office. Okay. Just go into right click. What is here? See, I just going to pick this latitude and longitude. And let me get the latitude. Yeah, this one. Latitude. Zoom, I think maximum value is 21. Let me start with 8. I mean, how closer you are looking at the object. So the camera position defined, and let's set the camera to the map. So we have set the map view, initialize the map view with the position, I mean the size of a map view and where the perspective or the camera is looking at the object or the earth. Okay, we are not done yet because this map has to be added to the view first. Before that, set map type. This is recommended. By default, Google Map put a normal, what we call this map view. So normal way. This is the hybrid map view. Like, you know, you'll see the hybrid look, the entire satellite view of your map. So which one you prefer? That if you say that, that will be helpful. So I'm going to say this is a constant, find constant, usually K, GMS, normal, satellite. Let me take it as a normal. I don't know what it is. Let's see that. I'll start with the satellite, then we'll come back. Satellite and map view. Set my location enabled so that it is aware of your current location, because it depends on your last known location. Okay, now it is done. Now point your view to the map. Okay. I mean, you're just saying that the view is going to be a map view at this point. So if you add that, you should be getting your map showing in your application. Let's see how it goes. Insert. Let's see what exactly going on. Initiated. Oh my god, I haven't given my API key. That's really bad. This guy won't permit me because that's the whole purpose I visited to console. I haven't added that. You should add this at app delegate application did finish launching with option. So you have to create port Google Maps GMS set command C. GMS services, provide your API key at this point. So let me get my API key. Where is that? I remember I created this one. This is my API key. Because Google makes sure who is accessing their services. So only with the valid API key holders they will provide maps. Otherwise they won't give. Let's run it. Hopefully. It's actually Chennai. I'll do one thing. Hope it is normal. I just I don't tell which map type. Let it pull the default map type. Okay. I think with the highest zoom, it is pointing as a whole because the zoom is the higher mean the closer you look at the object. Maybe let me go to 16. Okay. So we are seeing the location. Remember, this is a camera position. I mean, a kind of a perspective on the top. It is looking at certain object. So camera, I mean, assume the satellite. Satellite has an eye on that, or maybe it is looking at, or pathfinder, which is looking at this location. But usually maps, if you are pinpointing certain location, you can put a marker. Marker means some sort of pin. You can put it on there. So that also you can add it. So if you are getting a location through a GPS, you can periodically change the latitude longitude as if the map is moving. So you can change the camera position accordingly with the new coordinates coming in. That you can give a kind of a dynamic look and feel of your map. So now the map has been integrated even though the marker is not there. So let me create a marker, GMS marker. Create a marker object. You can specify title for your marker, ACTS. You can also specify the snippet. Okay, now we specify the title, snippet. Now we need to tell where it is going to point. Marker set position. I mean where the marker is going to be put. CL location coordinate 2D. So there is an object. Okay, let me create that. CL location coordinate 2D make. It requires a latitude and longitude. I think we have the latitude, longitude. Set the position of your marker and finally marker attached to mapping. So the map you will have this marker also added at this point. You see this small marker? So clicking it shows me the title and the snippet of what you're trying to show. So this is the bare minimum thing what I'm using from Google itself. You can customize, change the design, or change the picture of your marker. Wherever, or a lot of customization you can do around with that. So for example, marker set icon. You can set your own icon instead of the default one whatever it's showing. You can create some different picture and show that, and instead of this one. So various customization you can do around with this. But this is a bare minimum example of like adding your Google Map and using it in your project. So by default, the default map service, instead of default map service, we are using Google Map. But only requirement, you should have a Gmail account, and provided you log into your console and developers.google.com, enable certain permissions, and create the API key, then attach in your project. Then things will appear as you see it. To make that happen, of course, you need active internet connection. Without that, no possible at all, because things are coming through internet. So if your proxy prevents, we'll have to see like how we can overcome with that, because the CocoaPod project itself will download the dependency through internet. So once you create a CocoaPod file or pod file, it downloads all the dependencies which is required for the Google Map add-on. So this is a clear, simple example of adding Google Map to your project. Hopefully, what I'm thinking, let me integrate this thing with the GPS from the last example. Okay, let me try. First thing, I need to enable the core location libraries. So link binary with the library, I need to add the core location dependencies, core location framework. I'm adding them. Once I add it, I need to, this time I'm going to get the location in app delegate instead of view controller, because view controller, that's where we put the map, but location is going to come from app delegate. How the app delegate can push the new location to view controller, that also we'll experiment. Now I have added core location libraries. Let me integrate that. Dependencies required for it, and make sure you initialize CLLocationManager delegate. Add the protocol and as well as a property. Okay, I get the property. Synthesize. Remember, I'm writing this code in app delegate. I'm not writing this in any view controller. Okay. First part, let me initialize location manager. So initialize this thing. Tell the location manager delegate has been implemented here, and define the location manager set decide accuracy, which is a constant, KCL location accuracy best. Before doing this thing, we have to make sure the user gives an explicit permission. Location manager response to a selector require that always authorization or request when needed. Request, let me type QUEST when user authorization. This is a preferred one. If it responds, let's call the dialog. So at this point the user will be getting a pop-up saying that give the permission. Then you can go ahead and start updating location. That you can call and implement one of a method location manager update location. So if it is a new location arrived, it will make a call here. Before that, we have to add one more addition in our plist. I forgot that. You need to add one entry in your plist, NS location when in usage description. That you have to add, saying that some text. So the app delegate in the very first time will check, try to implement the location manager, will try to get the location, but before that it will require an authorization from you. Once you give an authorization, and the new location will arrive here. So this is what the plan, but let me see if it asks a location or not. A permission. Okay, so it is asking me and to give a permission. Yeah, I'll give the permission a little later. Before that, see, remember the location will arrive here. I would like to send the location to my view controller. So we have already seen NS notification center to do a broadcasting to various view controller whomever subscribed. So using that, I am going to send the message. Post notification name, location update, some name, unique name. Object which I am going to send, the CL location object, location, the last object itself more than enough. So whenever new location arrives, it will send it, it will attach it to a notification center, it will broadcast that message. So whomever subscribe it can pick the message. Now the view controller is going to pick that particular message. So let me, at this point, notification center, capture the default notification center, add the observer, selector, make sure you give the, selector, of course we have to give the callback function, we'll write it, and the name, exactly the same name what you have given here. And the object, nothing is going to add. I'm going to need a selector now. Going to have an argument. notification added the selector. So this object will have a location object, so I'm going to need CL location. Okay. Typecast it. Get the object. Okay. We have an object. Now we are going to change the camera position. There is a camera position object already there, right? Okay, I'll write one more time. There is an option to change. Okay, map view is global. Okay, let me create the camera position one more time. In this case, the latitude longitude I am going to get from the location object. Location coordinates latitude, and this one location coordinate longitude. So this time this latitude longitude will be coming from my GPS, and map view is already initialized, so set camera to a new location. First one I have initialized with the position. Remember, this camera position just an initialization. Now I am just updating my position, because this particular what I did, I initialized the map view as well as the camera position. In this case I am just updating the camera position to changing to some other location. Also I need to update the marker. Let me get the marker. This title should be different, right? I'll just keep them empty. Location only we are going to change. So location, coordinate, latitude. Camera position I slightly keep it, because now from where I'm going to look at I'm not sure. Let me keep it slightly keep it on the top, so with the zoom level set to 8. So if at all when I get a new location, my map should be pointing to some other location with the marker. First one I need to give a permission. Before that, let me initialize a location to somewhere. Maybe I'll give Mumbai. Set allow. See that it is pointing to Mumbai in this case. Location being, of course, constantly updating, because that's the reason I couldn't just keep on sending it. Let me point you to some other place. New York. It went to New York. So whatever, this particular example you install in your phone, as you make the move, the map icon will make a move. So this is how you can create a simple mapping solution and attach them with your GPS. And also I am making use of my notification service, because the map related, GPS related code I have written in app delegate. So app delegate is a single place where it will keep getting the location updates. it will push it to wherever, whatever view controller, wherever you would like to display the latitude, longitude, that you can do. Rather, if you attach the GPS part into one of a view controller, that view controller would be responsible to be running always. Then only it can get the location updates in the background. So this simple example will easily point to a location where wherever you make a move. So we change to Hong Kong, where first it went. Back to Mumbai. Okay, I'll stop the location so that I can zoom it where it is actually pointing. You can, pinch to zoom various things you can do. It's not something, I don't have that option in the emulator. So somewhere it is pointing to Wadala Bridge or somewhere else. Okay, fine. So it seems to be that's a location that Xcode is pointing towards. So this is a simple example of Google Map addition to your project. Though it requires various other external APIs, it's fairly straightforward. So just go to that website consoledevelopers.google.com, create your API key, then go ahead and add the Cocoa part here and integrate the project. Open the Xcode workspace this time and add all your dependencies and initialize a map view and start seeing them. It's pretty simple. Okay, I hope one of a case study I have given this requirement. For others, make this, you can follow it. Yes, you may have some issues to have that on board because of your restriction, the restriction there in our proxy. But this is a step, so we'll see how we could have that in our other projects, maybe subsequent sessions. That's it.